Hello everyone, here is the instruction of 3D hairbrush, common brush section. First, the comb brush. It only works on the hair when the second point from the hair root is within the brush area. Let's check use 3D brush. Now the brush is switched from 2D to 3D mode, and it's always vertical to the normal direction of the surface. When we work on a rugged surface, 3D brush will help a lot. Let me take an example. Perhaps you ever struggled with an uneven surface like this, a well-developed muscle structure, but it gets to be easier with the 3D brush. You can comb hair in any view freely and get a nice effect efficiently. Alright, let's come down to mode change. Keep Use 3D brush on and mode change off. Let's get away from the surface. We can see the circle of the brush disappears. Keep in mind, when switching between 2D brush and 3D brush by sliding through, we need to release the left button of the mouse and click it again. Okay, let's turn our attention to the deer. The hair on the face is short, so it's easy for us to groom with 3D brush. Yet the hair below the neck is quite long. 2D brush is more convenient. Mode change is pretty helpful in such a case. Then the brush scale. Enable it and zoom out the scene. You will find the brush always remains its size in 3D space. Besides, there is the strength adjustment. The built-in strength controls the intensity in 2D mode, yet the strength adjustment works in 3D mode, and the intensity follows from tips to roots. Note here, in this mode, the strength shouldn't be 0. Okay, let's switch to Smooth brush. Click Length, then we can smooth the length of the guys. Still, let's move on to the deer. Let's say the hairs on the face and on the neck are of different length, and the transition is rather stiff. This function exactly does the job easily, and it's very easy to get a nice transition. Next, the Length brush. There is Grow, Shrink, and Target Length. When coming to the target length, the guys will stop growing or shrinking. When target length is set to 0, there is no limit to the length. Alright, let's look at the deer. The hair on the jaw is a bit too long and needs to be shortened, so we first get to learn the length of the hair on the face, and then shorten the hair on the jaw to avoid reducing too much or too little. You may think Unify Length can do the same, but this is not really true. Unify length is to unify the length of the selected hairs without the length transition. Even the original transition will also be destroyed, but this function is more flexible and with finer controllability. Next, Weight brush. There are 3 modes: increase, decrease, and smooth. Increase is to increase the weight. Decrease is to reduce the weight. They are somewhat similar to the default weight brush, but the transition is more smooth. Smooth is to smooth the weight to get a good transition. Here is an example. Let's quickly fix the weight of the arm hair and the facial hair. Okay, let's move on to the Orient brush. 3 functions here: Orient, Center, and Repel. In Orient mode, the brush only works on the orientation of guys without modifying the shape. In Center mode, it's to push the guys to both sides. Then Repel, centered on the brush, to push the guys in all directions. When we check the curving here, hairs will be bent a bit. The higher the number of segments, the more they bend. Strength adjustment is the same as the comb brush, so it will not be explained here. Let's say we want to modify the orientation of these long hairs. When we groom them with comb brush, they will be out of shape. But if we use Orient brush, it's not a big deal. Alright, let's come to Bend brush. Just as the comb brush with Use 3D brush on, keep the roots fixed and groom the tips. It's very helpful for us to groom hair flows quickly. Alright, let me show you how to quickly get nice hair flows. For the swirl area, we can use the Orient brush first, and then use the bend brush. Fast and efficient. Alright, here is the special brush section. Let's start off with the attract brush. When the continuous attract is off, we can see the guides are attracted towards a fixed center. Let's toggle it on. Now they are attracted towards the center of the brush. Besides, there are two methods, head and sink. Let's try head first. The guides are bent from tips, becoming C-shaped. Switch to sink. Now the shape is inverted. After enabling random, the attracting position can be jittered a bit. Next, let's focus on the control range. When it's 1, the guides are attracted to 1 point. And let's reduce it a bit. We can see a gap appears at the attracting center. The smaller the control range, the larger the gap will be. Meanwhile, there are two attracting positions, point and center. Point means to attract the guides towards the one that is closest to the center of the brush. Center towards the center of the brush. Let's put it into practice. Here is a chimpanzee. Now I'd like to make some large clumps. There we go. On the belly, the hair is clumped towards the middle part. We can use the attract brush to make it quickly. Pretty much cool. Then the noise brush. Start off with head strength and middle strength. When we set the middle strength to 0 and set the head strength to a certain value between 0 and 1, the brush only works on the tips of the guides. Increase the middle strength. We can see the guides are affected entirely. I suggest starting with a small value and then increase it by a small value. Let's move on to XYZ lock. When we lock them all, the noise brush doesn't work at all. If we just lock Z-axis, the brush only works on X-axis and Y-axis. Okay, next let's check use roughness. There are 3 functions, uniform, endpoint, and random. Actually, the same thing is true with the roughness under children, so got it? Then seed, a random seed. The noise can change as the seed value is changed, and the noise strength of per stroke is added up. Then check the automatic seed. Now the seed keeps changing with per stroke. Chimpanzee's hair is very chaotic. It's hard for us to create an organic shape easily and quickly. So the noise brush helps a lot here. If we apply a high random intensity, we can lock Z-axis and keep X-axis and Y-axis unlocked. This way, the hair won't bulge out like this. Okay, move on to part brush. It has the same functions as the orient brush with Thunder enabled, so we'll skip it. Next, the clone brush. Only when checking use 3D brush can it work. Remember to apply your model if it was moved or rotated, because only when the transform and delta transform are set to initial value can clone brush work. Okay, let's dive into it. First, hit clone source and sample the wanted area. Then click clone draw to clone the sample somewhere. Here the shortcut is available. When the clone draw is enabled, we can hold shift to get a sample, then draw the hair as usual. The size of the brush represents the size of sample. Rotation angle is to rotate the sample. When rotating it, we can enable source visualization at the same time to view the results after rotation. Actually, it's troublesome to change the rotation angle all the time, so just hold Ctrl and scroll the mouse wheel to do it. Come down here, we can set the step per rotation. Here is a walkthrough. In addition to the current particle system where we can pick a sample from, it's also available from other particle systems, even from other objects. After that, we will learn all the hairstyles that we've already done can be used again. Take an example. Chimpanzees' beards are basically the same as theirs, so we can directly copy it and then adjust it a bit. There we go. The last brush, color brush. This is also a very useful tool. Okay, let's dive into it. It belongs to 2D brush, so no need to check use 3D brush. Before drawing, set the color as per your preference. Keep in mind, when we reopen the project, the guides may not show any colors. We can enter particle edit mode and click on the blank area. Now the colors appear. In object mode, the colors for all the particle systems can be displayed. In particle edit mode, only display the colors of the current particle system. Uncheck active only and click on the blank area. All the guides can be displayed. Alright, let's focus on the hair color options. Here are all the color groups. Assign is to assign hair color to the selected guides. Select means select the guides of each color group. Clear means clear the current color group. Meanwhile, the group will be deleted. Clear all stands for clear all the color groups. They all work in point select mode. Let's say we want to set the blue color to the guides. We can drag the color of this group onto hair color. Keep in mind, switch to another brush if we want to change the color. Let's put it into practice. After we edit a certain part of guides, this selection cannot be saved. If we are going to edit those again a bit later, we have to reselect them. Here, color brush will get the job done easily. Whenever we edit them again, it's at hand. Let's jump to use radius curve here. This point controls the roots, and this controls the tips, and we can freely add points with one click. Note here, the shape may not end up well if the steps are too low. That is, if many points are added, a higher step may be needed to support it. And now let's go through the new functions updated in 3D Hairbrush 1.6. Find the Children tab and unfold it, then Roughness. Here is the first function. Use curve to control uniform, endpoint, and random. Roughness is generally used to add fine details. But you may learn, roughness controls the whole hair. That is, we're not allowed to adjust a certain part of one hair separately. Exactly this function will do. Let's start off with uniform. Set the size to 0.05 and uniform to 0.02. By default, the hair is bent evenly. Let's try the curve to bend the root less and the tip more. Check Use Uniform Curve. Here a ramp appears. The abscissa maps from hair root to tip. The ordinate represents the intensity of the uniform. Pull the left point down. We can see from root to tip, the hair gets curved gradually. Adjust the curve further as needed. Through a curve, we can tweak the intensity freely. Pretty convenient and intuitive. Then endpoint. The same principle actually. Bring up the endpoint and reduce the shape a little bit. Say I just want the endpoint to work on the middle part and exclude the tip and the root. And let's get to it. Pull both points down and add the point and raise it up. Adjust the curve further as per your reference. Cool. Very handy, right? Next, random. Increase random. Suppose I want the random work stronger near the root and weaker near the tip. Let's make it. Take Use Random Curve. Put the right point down. Then adjust the curve a bit. Okay, done with it. Let's see the comparison between before and after. Alright, let's move on to the next function. Find out hair shape and unfold it. After Use Radius Curve, We updated the user diameter random. By default, there is no way to set a random thickness for the hair in one particle system. Use diameter random exactly takes care of this concern. Here's the demonstration. Check it first. Okay, the hair reveals random thickness. Diameter seed, start, and threshold. These three parameters give us finer control. First, diameter seed. It's just a random seed. I believe you got it. Then start controls the random intensity of thickness. Keep your eyes on the hair. When I increase it, the random intensity of thickness gets lower gradually. When reaching 1, all the hairs return to their original thickness. Then threshold. It controls the proportion of the hair in random thickness. By default, it's 0. All the hair is of random thickness. When increasing it, the hair in the original thickness is getting more. When reaching 1, all the hairs return to their original thickness. And when reducing it, more hairs approach the finest shape until all the hairs become the finest shape. Alright, let's adjust the hair with this function. Set the threshold to wanted value, and then change the start to get the proper random intensity. This function helps us out to easily achieve a hair shape with all the hairs in different thicknesses, which greatly improves the efficiency that we groom a complicated hairstyle. Alright, hope you like the new functions. Thanks for watching.